Now, the Port of Durban has resumed operations. Access to the facility was cut off due to heavy rains and flooding, but the port has now found alternative routes into the area. Our reporter Nqobile Madlala joins us now with the latest. Nqobile, we understand there's been a gradual resumption of operations at the port. Just talk to me about this.
Yes, that's right, Mfundo. So there is some gradual way of operating at this point, but I want to show you where we are. We're in the logistics area. This is the place where most of the truck drivers that would be heading to the Port of Durban would be going through. Now, the area, what you're seeing is basically how ravaged it has been ever since the floods. We are hearing that an estimation of almost about 6 trucks are still in this water. As you can see, there's also a calmer here. Now, that what it does is it basically puts those empty containers onto the trucks, and this is where then they will do the paperwork, and they would have to then proceed to the Port of Durban or be done from here and then drive off to whether or not they had picked up what they were looking for or had dropped what they were coming to drop in the area. But of course, some of the people are still calculating the estimation in terms of how much has been lost. We know that Transnet in the area is already trying to fix the bridge that leads to the Port of Durban. But before I show you more about what Transnet is doing, I want to bring in our guest here who has already lost his car. I mean, sir, when we spoke to you earlier on, you were telling us that you were looking for your car and you just wanted to see where it got swept away.
That's correct. I was looking for my vehicle to see if I can find my vehicle in the water here.
I mean, it must be devastating to have lost your car. Tell us a bit about what happened.
Yeah, I was in the port and I got a phone call from my controller saying me that Nazir, your car is gone. So I told him it can't be. So I'm telling you your car is gone. And it was more devastating when the guy phoned me the second time, told me that's true, your car is gone.
So what happened to your car?
I had it parked in the backyard. This is where we used to park. We never experienced, also we had rain here as well, we never experienced such disaster thing to happen in this place. First time in history this happened to us.
And I mean, the car that we're talking about is a car that you were using as a business car.
That was my transport to work and back home.
Okay.
And that's the only sort of vehicle that I had. And now that I've lost the vehicle, so now I must look for a transport to get to work. Sometimes it's a taxi, sometimes it's a bus. Sometimes you don't even get a taxi, sometimes you don't get a bus because of the weather that had occurred already. And the buses, most of them are parked off.
And you were telling us a bit about one of the drivers that had lost their truck here, that you were speaking to them. How are they feeling?
He's the owner of the truck, and he's really upset. This is the only sort of income that he had. And there's also a driver whose car got washed away. There's 3 cars got washed away. And it was terrible because one driver is still paying for his car. And the poor guy is crying now because he don't have any other vehicles.
All right. So what do you do now?
Well, I have to see which other source of way that we can get another vehicle now to get to work and back home. So just hoping that something comes up in like the government or somebody can help us out to sort this thing out. At least to meet us halfway or something like that.
Thank you very much, sir, for speaking to us. Well, there you have it, Mfundo. Some people that have been affected by what you see here. And of course, those are mop-up operations currently happening. We do understand, I mean, we will be speaking to Transnet a bit later on. We understand that they're locked in meetings currently, trying to figure out what to do now going forward. But what you're seeing here is just the damage on the infrastructure that leads to the Port of Durban. Some of the trucks still submerged in the water and in that mud, as well as some of the bridges that have been broken. You can just see the amount of damage that has occurred here. And of course, hearing from that gentleman who is still looking for his vehicle, still very much devastated. You can just hear from his voice. He's also saying that he knows the driver that has lost the truck that you can visibly see behind me, and he's just saying that was his only source of income. So the damage has been severe for most people that had their trucks here, and of course they were coming here to ensure that they sort out their logistical papers, but unfortunately that ended up in a disaster.